Hi everyone, I hope that you are all doing well. Today I thought I would tackle a few topics and questions that artists may have, such as why do some artists sell well and others don't? Does making art that sells mean that you are not an authentic artist? And who buys art anyway? And more. Recently, I made a video on what art is selling at the moment. And firstly, I want to say thank you so much to all of you that have watched the video. I really didn't expect it to do as well as it has, and thank you so much for watching. Many of you really liked the video and found it helpful. Well, some artists found it a little bit challenging. So today I thought that with this video, I would be expanding on that video and answering some questions and concerns that artists may have with regards to selling their work. So let's get into it. Some artists commented on my previous video stating that they would rather stay authentic than cater to what people want to buy or create to trends. This seems to be the biggest concern among artists. And does making art that sells mean that you are not an authentic artist? No, it doesn't. Other commenters made a good point in saying that you can do both. You can make art that sells and art for yourself. The truth is that everyone needs money to survive. Historically speaking, making art for oneself is a rather new concept. In the past, artists always needed financial backing in some way or another. Either they were employed by the church or another institution, or they had patrons like the Medici family in Europe, for example. Today, even though there are exceptions out there, most artists cannot survive on their own, even those that sell really well. Most artists have a regular job that puts food on the table, while making their art gives them something extra or helps them with something else, like paying for school fees, for example. Am I saying that you should copy other artists or that you should completely throw your personal style and chosen subject matter out the window for the sake of selling? No, I am not saying that at all. Artists should be original. They should be making work that is difficult to find elsewhere. And they should be true to themselves. However, there are considerations that you need to keep in mind if you want to sell your work. You need to find a balance between making art that sells and art that still reflects your personal style and voice. Is it difficult to sell art? I think that there is a misconception among artists that having your work represented by a gallery or having a dealer sell your work means that it will automatically sell, that it will do well. And this is not the case. Of course, it does help to have your work in a gallery. However, selling art is actually really difficult. And why is that? Art is a luxury item. It is something that people want. It is not something that they need. It is not like regular retail where products sell off the shelves every day. Selling art is hard, and it can take weeks, months, or even years for an artwork to sell. Having your work in a top gallery is a stamp of approval. It is very good to have someone like that behind your name. However, people still need to want to buy your work, and that is something that cannot be forced. So artists need to have patience when building their careers. And this brings me to the next point, which is selling to the right audience. Someone commented on my previous video saying that understanding who your client is paramount in selling your work, and I do agree with this. If you are trying to sell your work, you should be asking yourself the question, who is my audience? Because works that sell at a gallery, for example, will be different to what sells at a marketplace. Are you selling your work through an online shop, or are you selling your work through an interior designer or an interior design shop? Are you selling your work through a tourism shop? Are you targeting tourists? These questions matter because all these places will have different clientele. And also, what sells at one gallery will be different to another gallery. And like I mentioned in my previous video, I think what sells in one town will be different to another town. So you need to keep those things in mind. You also need to think for yourself, does my art fit in with this place? And does this place suit the art that I'm trying to sell? Who buys art, and do they influence which art does well? The truth is that people who are buying art are generally those that can afford to do so. And like everything in life, what people buy the most is what sells the most, is more likely to get recognition. The types of clients that buy art can be those who are buying for their personal collection. It can also be designers who are purchasing or assisting clients in selecting works for their home. It can also be businesses or other institution that is decorating their space or offices, other galleries, universities, and museums who are collecting important work. And this leads me to my next question. Why does art sell? Firstly, people buy art because they like it, because they appreciate art. If you are buying art, you are going to have to look at it for a very long time. You're going to have to live with it. So hopefully you like art. People buy art for various reasons. Maybe they think it is beautiful, or it resonates with them in some way, or perhaps it reminds them of something or someone, or it speaks to their soul. These are sometimes clients that are able to see the potential in an artist, and by purchasing their work, they are helping to build the artist's career. Alternatively, clients also buy works because they like the prestige that comes with owning certain pieces. Another reason for buying art is, of course, for its investment purposes, because of its value. Buying art is actually one of the best ways of investing because it doesn't fluctuate in the same way that stocks or other investments do, and art tends to hold its value over long periods of time. And buying art has tax benefits because art can be tax deductible. Why do some artists sell well and others don't? The honest truth, originality, high quality art sells well. Whether an artwork has contributed in some important way to the art world or art history, what is fashionable right now, and what clients actually like, and other reasons I don't know. I have noticed something though, and I would be interested to hear what your thoughts are on this, but I have come to notice that sometimes what clients like is very different to what artists like. Maybe it's because artists see something in an artwork that clients don't. It's very interesting. I know artists who are incredibly talented and their work is of such a high quality, and yet it just doesn't sell well as others do. And it does sadden me. And then you get other artists who give a big stuff you to everybody, and they make whatever they want to make. And they stick to that. And then finally, years later, people actually want to buy their work. It's amazing. As I mentioned in my previous video, some artists are really just fortunate and lucky to happen to make art at that particular time that people want to buy. And hopefully they remain sought after by evolving and simply getting better at what they do. The art world is a tough place, I'm going to be honest with you. And in order for artists to survive, to do well, it is important that they are determined, that they are able to adapt and evolve, that they have thick skin, and they have patience, because it can take a while to build your career as an artist. And if you are determined and you just keep getting better at what you do and have patience, you will get somewhere. And that is it. That is all I have for you today, guys. Thank you so much for watching another video. I really appreciate it. If you are interested in learning about art history, and getting some more advice for artists, I ask that you please subscribe. Please like this video, because it will really help me, really help the algorithm and other artists like yourself to find my videos. I hope that you have a wonderful day or night, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!